Hello and welcome to HW News English. I am Shubham Chauhan. It's been a year since the 2024 Maharashtra Assembly election results came out, yet there still remains an element of doubt and suspicion as far as the mandate given to the Mahayuti, the NDA, is concerned. And over the year, we've seen civil society and even the opposition parties raising questions on how the Mahayuti could win a landslide margin. Remember, the Mahayuti, which is the BJP, Shiv Sena of Eknath Shinde and the NCP of Ajit Pawar, won a combined 234 out of 288 seats. That was a mandate that was really unheard of as far as the state of Maharashtra was concerned. Then you saw sections of civil society, journalists, independent news platforms raising questions pointing to anomalies as far as the voting pattern in the state is concerned. So be it the voter lists, be it the case of bogus voters, be it the increase, the sudden jump in the voter turnout after 5 p.m. is concerned, and several such anomalies and questions were raised on the election commission as to whether the election that Maharashtra saw was actually fair. And then you had the likes of Rahul Gandhi, Congress MP, the Congress party, and then of course the opposition giving it the term vote chori, meaning vote theft, that these elections were won by vote theft as far as the BJP is concerned. Now, in Maharashtra, in Mumbai, with the local body polls, especially the prestige battle of the Brihan-Mumbai Municipal Corporation, Asia's richest civic body, the BMC, those elections on the horizon, now you see the opposition stepping up its attack on the election commission and pointing to really highly suspicious activities as far as the voter list was concerned. Whether the voter list was clean, among other factors, is something that attack has now been taken to another level by the opposition. Today, we are currently standing at the NSCI Dome in Worli, and you can see behind me was the Nirdhar Medava of the Shiv Sena of Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray. The highlight of this event was Aaditya Thackeray, Worli MLA, former cabinet minister in the Uddhav Thackeray government. He took center stage at this event here in Worli and made a presentation, quite like the presentation you saw with Rahul Gandhi on 2 occasions, where he gave a PPT, a proper PPT on the anomalies that his team found in different aspects, in different constituencies of the country. Today, Aaditya Thackeray took the case of Worli, his own seat, and on Worli, based on Worli, he made an elaborate presentation on the questions that were raised on the sudden jump in the number of voters, what explains that, the anomalies that his team had found out. So he presented like his own expose, taking his own constituency, by the way, as an example. Now, before I get to what are the points that Aaditya Thackeray has made in his elaborate presentation, just to give you a quick background, in 2024, the Maharashtra Assembly elections, Aaditya Thackeray squared off against Milind Deora of the Shiv Sena of Eknath Shinde and Sandeep Deshpande of the Maharashtra Navnirman Sena of Raj Thackeray. This was the seat that Aaditya Thackeray had first contested in 2019. He won with a decisive margin, more than 64,000 votes. In 2024, his margin of victory came down drastically to about 7,000 to 8,000 votes. Yet he still managed to sort of hang on and win the seat in 2024. Now he made a presentation on what his team had found out as far as the voter list of Worli was concerned and the anomalies that the voter list had. And I will try and take you through these anomalies that Aaditya Thackeray has pointed out one by one in his presentation. The first point that he mentioned, that the comparison he made was the total number of voters in the Lok Sabha, in the voter list of Worli during Lok Sabha, was 2,52,970 versus 2,63,352 that was in the Vidhan Sabha election. Now, according to his findings, 16,000 voters were added in the Vidhan Sabha list and 5,661 were deleted. Now, of course, you can say that these voter lists keep getting updated as per the rules. Some voters die, some voters migrate, and so on and so forth. So changes can happen. But the biggest headline point as far as Aaditya Thackeray's presentation that he pointed to was 19,333. These were the total voters with anomalies, is what his presentation pointed out, and he had it written on the screen, in fact, that you can see behind me, where he went point by point, slide by slide, to elaborate on the anomalies that he found out. And he's given multiple categories in terms of what the anomalies really were when he took the example of his own seat of Worli in Mumbai. The first example he gave was that a voter was deleted from the voter list in the Lok Sabha that voter was added back before the Vidhan Sabha with a different epic number. Epic number, I'll come to that, what it means. So he gave an example of Narhari Kulkarni. His name was deleted in the voter list in the Lok Sabha, and he was added back in the voter list in the Vidhan Sabha election. Now, the epic is the elector photo identity card, which is a number, a unique number that each voter ID has. It's an alphanumeric code, so you can find it on your voter ID as well. So that was the first example that he gave, that a voter deleted in the Lok Sabha was added in the Vidhan Sabha election. Second, he said that the voter name and the relative name or the surname mentioned in the voter list was different, and he said that 502 such voters were found in Worli. Third, he mentioned is the voter name and the father name was different. So Girish Matre, he gave an example as well. Girish Matre was the name of the voter, and the relative name of the father name was Bhanji Patel. So the surnames are different and all of that. So 720 such voters were found with voter name and father name different. Then he went on to gender. Gender, he said there's a mismatch. A male has been written female, a female has been written male. He gave the example of Gauri Gagan Gupta, which is a female name, that was given a male, categorized as male. And there's 643 such voters in Worli, is what Aaditya Thackeray pointed out. Of course, he went on to criticize the EC, saying that it is now doing the ruling party's work and it is far from being an autonomous institution in itself. Then he points out to another anomaly. Example number 5 is that there are no epic numbers on certain voter lists, on certain voter names which were part of the list. So there are 28 such voters where the epic number is not there, and that means that you don't have that alphanumeric code that you should be having as part of your voting card, the voter card that you have. Example number 6, he said there are duplicate names in voter list with the same epic number. There are 133 such voters that his presentation points out. Now, as far as epic is concerned, like I said, these are supposed to be unique alphanumeric codes, that one voter, one epic number is what it should be, but he's saying there are duplicate names with the same epic number. That was another anomaly he pointed to. Example number 7, he said the same person had different epic numbers, and what the example that he cited was how names were written differently. So if you take two voters and with the same name, it was spelled differently, it was written differently. He said there were 3,588 voters having 7,810 epic numbers. That was the duplication scale that Mr. Thackeray mentioned. The next examples that he went on to was that there were no or improper photographs as part of the voter list. So some voters had their names, all their details mentioned correctly, but the photo was missing. That is part of the voter ID that you have, that each voter ID you have to have a photo of the voter itself. Next that he went on to was the name mentioned of the voter in the voter list was written in languages other than Marathi and English. So names that were written in say a Tamil or a Kannada, these were some of the examples that he cited on his screen, and we are playing those visuals for you to just get a sense of the points that Mr. Aaditya Thackeray was trying to raise. That was another point that he said. Next, he said there are 113 such voters, 113 such voters in Worli constituency that were above the age of 100. That was the finding that he presented. But the catch here was that many of them had died. Someone had died in 2021, someone had died back in 1995, yet they were present on the voter list of 2024. That was the charge that Mr. Aaditya Thackeray had put out. The 12th is something that the house number was not properly mentioned, or there was no house number. He said this is really the biggest fraud. And he said this runs into thousands if you just look at the Worli seat itself. And of course, the number gets larger when you look at Mumbai as a whole, where a voter is there on the voter list, but their address or either their address is not mentioned, or if it's mentioned, there is no proper house number that is assigned to that particular voter. And to elaborate on that point, he said there's another variant of this anomaly, was that there are 38 voters in a small room in Boricha Marg in Worli. He in fact showed a video of that small room. He said 38 voters were registered on that, and they said when his team went to find out, it ended up that there were no person actually living there. So, and he said there are 214 such households, 214, with 3,335 voters. So you can imagine if you just divide per household the kind of people and the kind of voters that were being registered in one address. Then he moves on to a very interesting example, that is of a shop called Ghasitaram Sweets in Worli. He said 46 voters were registered at Ghasitaram Sweets, which, like he pointed out, is not valid because you can't have a voter registered on the name of a shop. Now he said the Ghasitaram Sweets as a shop itself, the structure was demolished way back. Yet there were people who had thousands of names that had the name Ghasitaram Mithai Wala written on the voter list. So they were, of course, bogus voters. Then he said that 1200 plus, more than 1,200 voters were deleted after the assembly elections without any intimation to the voters. So there's a proper process as far as the EC is concerned when a voter has to be deleted from a particular voting list. That, he said, hasn't been done. And he said that all of these violations that he just pointed out were part of the Election Commission handbook that categorizes the anomalies or mistakes that could have been done. And what he did was, throughout his presentation, he did not show any of the photographs of the voters that he was naming. He said this is to protect the privacy and this is to protect the identity of that person in question. And he also mentioned on a couple of occasions that, look, these things can happen, these anomalies can happen, and that is where the role of the Election Commission comes into play, that you have to ensure that the voter roll is clean and to begin with, so that there's a fair electoral process and no questions are raised. And this, the point of making all these elaborate presentation and points, and this was the point that Aaditya Thackeray said, that beware and pay more attention to the voter rolls. This was a Merawa that had the Padadhikaris or the party functionaries of Shiv Sena UBT, and where he categorically and repeatedly emphasized on the fact that, look, you will get a draft voter list sooner than later, because you have the local body elections coming up. You don't know when that is going to happen. But whenever you get that draft voter list, Aaditya Thackeray has given a homework to his party functionaries that go through this voter list carefully, and whenever or wherever there is, you believe there's a suspicion, check it out on ground. Go visit that place, visit that address, visit that voter, to ensure that whether that voter is alive, dead, does that person exist, or is there some fault. And that is something that he said should be done on priority. And he also, in fact, went on to make that point that unlike previous elections, this fight is not, that is the upcoming BMC fight and other elections, these are not going to happen just solely on the basis of manifestos, campaign promises, etc. He said voter lists is also a critical part of the elections that are coming up. Subsequently, you had Uddhav Thackeray, the party chief of Shiv Sena UBT, giving an address to his party functionaries on similar lines. Of course, other than that, mounting an attack on the Bharatiya Janata Party, on Hindutva, on Adani, and the latest report that has come out by the Washington Post related to the industrialist. And he also, in fact, it all circled back to that point, and that was really the big point of this Merawa, of this meeting of party functionaries, was that go through the voter list, and in case you find an anomaly, point that out. That was the larger message. Now, of course, this comes days after the opposition in Maharashtra met with the state election commission officials in Mumbai. You had Uddhav Thackeray, you had Aaditya Thackeray, you had Jayant Patil of the NCP of Sharad Pawar, you had Raj Thackeray himself, Maharashtra Navnirman Sena chief Raj Thackeray there, you had Vijay Vadattiyar of the Congress House, all of them taking an all-party delegation. They said the invite was extended to the ruling parties as well, but they didn't choose to come, of course. But they met election officials and they pointed that out. And they're saying that somewhere down the line, the election commission is not being fair when it comes to voter lists, and it is ensuring that it works on behalf of the BJP. That was really the essence of this rally, and the biggest takeaways that Aaditya Thackeray had highlighted. This was touted as a bomb that he would put out here in NSC at Dome Worli. Remember, this is also the venue. 3-4 months back, you had the two cousins reuniting right behind me on this very stage after 20 long years. And so you had this, of course, that's another topic to look at, whether Raj Uddhav are coming together, will come together, how all of that will pan out. But the biggest takeaway was pay attention to the voter list. And Uddhav Thackeray, in fact, challenged the EC that if you don't ensure that there are clean rolls, we will not let elections happen in Maharashtra, which is the upcoming local civic polls as well. And as we are recording this video, there has been no official response from the Election Commission on the charges that Mr. Aaditya Thackeray has made, but you can expect some source-based information or some reports to come out perhaps in the days to come as far as this anomalies that have been pointed out. These could be genuine, these could be deliberate. Who did it, who benefited, is a question that, of course, it's up to you to answer. And of course, the charges that are being made by the opposition, who they believe benefited from this. But as of now, while we are recording this on Monday evening at about 8 p.m. There's no response from the EC. Although you did have a press conference of the Election Commission just a short while back where Chief Election Commissioner Gyanesh Kumar announced a nationwide special intensive revision which is connected to the electoral rolls, which the EC says this is an exercise to purify voter rolls. We did it in Bihar. Now we are going to do it in the entire nation. There are about 12 odd states part of the first phase of SIR that starts tomorrow, the 28th of October. Maharashtra doesn't feature in it. So one can expect that the local body elections that will happen will be based on the last available voter list that is there as per the EC rules, that month-wise they put out how many voters were added, how many were deleted, what were the causes, and so on and so forth. But that really was the big takeaway that we thought we should bring to you here on HW as far as Aaditya Thackeray, Worli MLA, Shiv Sena leader, making a presentation, a Rahul Gandhi style-like presentation, and mounting a scathing attack on the Election Commission, pointing to anomalies in the voter list in his own constituency of Worli. Now, with the BMC and local cell body elections yet to be announced, the preparations have already begun. You had Raj Thackeray giving the same message to his cadre that skim through the voter, look at them carefully, study them carefully, and in case of anomalies, point that out. But expect this issue to gain a lot of momentum as we get closer to election. We don't know how the dynamics will be on the political front in terms of alliances, but one thing is for sure, that vote chori, the vote theft, as an allegation, as a charge that the opposition is making, expect that to play a big role in the upcoming elections as far as the state of Maharashtra is concerned. That's all we have for this report. Thanks for watching.